Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kayla, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the University of South Florida. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I went to University of South Florida for my junior and senior year of college. I went to HCC, Hillsborough Community College, for my freshman and sophomore year of college. I've had some of my subscribers ask me to give more insight on my experience with USF, so here I am. So to start off with, I really enjoyed my time at USF, and I'm so glad that I did the 2+2 program, which is, if you don't know, 2 years of community college and then 2 years at university. Saves so much money. I want to break things into kind of tiny categories, things that I appreciate about USF, things that I didn't really like about USF. But I'm going to tell you my story first of how I decided upon wanting USF to be my end goal. When I was 14 years old, I figured out that I had to figure out college all by myself, how to pay for it, all that jazz. I went on 9 college tours when I was 14 years old. Some of them were around my hometown in New York, and then I went to a few in Florida since my mom had expressed interest in moving to Florida. I took my USF tour when I was 14, and USF was so different from the colleges that I toured in New York, which were much more small and private. If you ever go on a tour on USF, the size of the campus will stand out to you, and the diversity that you will see on campus will stand out to you. That's something that can't be said about every single college out there. I want to say that there's at least people from 40 different countries at USF at any given time, people of every single color. There's groups and clubs that, you know, of every kind that you could imagine. The people who gave the tour when I went were so extremely friendly. It really stood out how friendly the tour guides were, that they knew their stuff. So after going on all these college tours, I figured out that USF was my end goal. I moved to Florida when I was 17 years old, and you know, my main goal was to graduate debt-free, and I chose to go to HCC to graduate debt-free. So I got to USF my junior year. The great thing about doing the 2+2 program is that it's so easy to transfer to USF and to be entered into the College of Business. I was a finance major, and at that point, before entering into USF, I had not taken any finance classes, just economics, accounting, and business management kind of classes. And in those classes, the sizes were smaller. It was a more intimate feeling. So going to USF, it was like kind of at first like, whoa, there's so many more people here. USF is one of the biggest campuses across the US. It's in the top 10 biggest campuses. And along with that, the student body population is one of the biggest in the US. My whole entire time in my college experience, I was a commuter student, and a lot of students at USF are commuter students. At any point in time that I went to USF, I lived at least 30 minutes away each way. So if you are somebody who will be joining USF as a commuter student, you don't have to feel like an odd person out by not living on campus. I was much more concerned with saving money than paying for overpriced dorms and for not so nice apartments around campus. Just to be completely clear, the areas directly around USF are really not the nicest areas, not the nicest neighborhoods. If living in a cleaner and nicer neighborhood is important to you, then expect to drive at least like 15 minutes each way to and from campus. There are plenty of shopping and eating options around campus, every kind of cuisine that you could think of for the most part. The really cool thing about USF is that it's in a growing area of the US, one of the fastest growing areas of the US, and honestly one of the coolest areas I've ever been to in the United States. Tampa is just such a cool and grooving place. Go ahead, make fun of me in the comments, I don't care. USF does a ton of research in a variety of different areas. It's a university that gets a ton of research grants and donation money, I guess you would say. So if you're somebody in the sciences and you want to do research, then USF is a great place to do it. The College of Business is also really growing. The semester that I graduated was when the College of Business was renamed the MUMA College of Business, and they really started to implement some really cool stuff the semester that I graduated. You know, I'm a little bit jealous of that. I know there's going to be other finance majors watching this video, and they're going to want me to tell you whether or not I recommend USF as a finance major. And for the most part, I had a good experience as a finance major at USF. To the finance majors watching, do not let your school dictate how you perform in the real world. That can be said to any majors, honestly. Do not let your school dictate how you do in the real world. In the real world, you are going to have passion, have drive, and you're gonna have to make opportunities for yourself. Especially when you don't go to a target university for whatever major you are. If companies don't come and actively recruit at your university, you are going to have to put yourself out there. You're gonna have to network and make opportunities for yourself. That being said, if you want something specific, a specific career path, most likely you're gonna have to also go out there and make it happen for yourself. Just because you go to USF doesn't mean that XYZ opportunity is going to plop in your lap just because you go to USF. That can be said about any university out there. I did enjoy USF's finance classes. I didn't find any of them to be particularly too hard. I liked most of the professors for the most part. Some things I didn't like the professors were that about 70% of the finance professors did not have real life business experiences. They've been in academics their whole entire lives. A good 75% of them were foreign and had accents that were quite hard to understand. That could be seen at any university across the US. It's just probably the #1 complaint about these professors is that their accents are too hard for people to understand. I did have some of the worst sexist experiences of my life with one professor in particular. He was extremely awful and made me feel absolutely awful as a finance major, as a woman pursuing a career of any kind. But I guess there's not too much we can do about that one. There's gonna be horrid people no matter where you go in life, and there just happens to be one in the USF finance department. As far as dining options go on campus, lots of different options. If you're a vegan like I am, there are options for you on campus. A common place that I would eat was Pollo Tropical. I'd get a choppy chop, something like that, which is the way that I would do it was half lettuce and half beans and rice with a whole bunch of veggies on top, and super simple, not that expensive, like less than 10 bucks a meal. As far as the clubs and activities go on campus, anything you could imagine. There's probably a club. There's a vegan club, there's a student finance association, an accounting club, etc. If there isn't a club with an interest of yours, you can go ahead and start it. Now, as a commuter student, I had to pay to park on campus, and I believe it's about $100 a year. I wasn't too thrilled about that, and since I was a commuter student and I was a student who worked, the times that I would show up on campus really depended. Sometimes, you know, I'd have classes in the morning. Sometimes I wouldn't have a class until the middle of the afternoon. And if you get there really early, like around 7 a.m., easy peasy, you get a parking spot. Now, if you're somebody who gets there in the middle of the afternoon for classes, it's going to be pretty hard to find a parking spot. And since most of my classes were, you know, at the College of Business, I would have to park in the parking garage that's near like the engineering buildings and walk from that parking garage all the way over to the business building. And that's a good like 3/4 of a mile walk. And let me tell you, when it is, when it's, you know, when it's August, September, October, and like March and April, May that you have classes and you're doing that kind of walk on campus, it's hot, it's humid, you're gonna be sweating. And if you're in the College of Business and sometimes you have to be wearing nicer and more professional clothes, it's not the most enjoyable experience to be getting your clothes all sweaty. It's just not nice. And I wish the College of Business at USF would do something about that. Make another parking garage near the College of Business so kids can just park their car, go down an elevator, and get to class. For certain classes, you'd also have to have your laptop and bring books. I would have to wear heels sometimes, so that long walk was not enjoyable. Also, Florida has a rainy season, and if you're going to classes at that time and having to do that kind of walk with an umbrella, a backpack, a laptop, looking nice, it's not a nice experience. I'll have to say about USF, that was not, was not feeling that. Most of the student population is very nice, very down to earth. Can't really complain too much about the other students. I'm sure some of you guys are interested in like partying. I'm not the best person to tell you about that or about sororities. I wasn't a part of that world. From what I've heard, there's plenty of that kind of action if that's what you're interested in. The USF grounds were always kept very nice. Can't complain about that. The buildings were average. The career counselors and the academic advisors were all decent at what they did. None of them gave any like detrimental advice really, but none of them particularly knew about high finance. You know, you can't expect a career person in the career center or an academic advisor to know absolutely everything about whatever you're interested in pursuing in life, because there's so many options out there, and you know, they're just somebody who's working at a university. The financial aid department was always really good in my experience. Didn't have any issues with them. The lines and the wait times to see people like in the financial aid office, academic advisors were never really that bad, even at peak times. Do I think USF made me or influenced who I am today? Yes and no. I can't imagine having any other journey in life. I appreciate my time at USF. I appreciate all the people that I met at USF. But do I think whether it made me or didn't? No, I think each individual person has to have it inside to make it where they want in life. Some people are going to be interested in the different sports that USF has. I'm sure there's students who get offered scholarships to go to USF. Which ones in particular, I don't really know. I know that USF has a golf team, football team, soccer team, etc. I actually have an acquaintance that went to my high school in New York. Her little brother plays football at USF now, so he must have been recruited somehow to go to USF. Is USF one of the best places to play sports in college in the US? Probably not. I'm not an expert on that though. If you're not somebody who grew up around the USF area and you're going to be living on campus, I highly suggest that you have a car or bring your car with you from wherever you're coming from, just because there is so much to see and do around Tampa Bay. You don't want to rely on just Ubers or your friends coming and picking you up to go and do stuff. You're gonna get real frustrated with that real quick probably. I've had people ask me about my opinion of USF versus University of Tampa. I don't have anything against University of Tampa. It's just a very expensive private university. Their programs are, you know, they're average. I don't think they particularly rank pretty high in any department there. If you can get like a sports scholarship there, full paid, why not? But if you and your family are going to go into debt for you to go to UT, then I highly suggest that you don't do that. You know, I've seen girls in particular who think they're so cool, they're going to University of Tampa, and actually a majority, like 60% of students at UT are from out of state. You know, they think I'm gonna be living near the beach and it's gonna be so cool. But then they end up with thousands upon thousands of dollars of student loan debt, and they end up broke. They're working at Lululemon in Hyde Park, they're working at Anthropology, jobs like that. And was it really worth it to go to UT at that point and be in tons of student debt? No. People choose UT because it's closer to downtown, to Hyde Park, to International Mall. And let me tell you something, if you don't come from money, I don't recommend that you go there unless you get full scholarship. What made me choose USF over other public universities like UF or UCF? I really just wanted to be in the Tampa area. I have friends that went to UF, I have friends that went to UCF, and they have good things to say about the finance program and other programs that they went to. It really just depends on where you want to live and what kind of opportunities that you're seeking to do after college is done. The main purpose you're going to college for is to get some skills, to learn, and to get into the real world after you're done with college. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my experience with USF. If you liked this video and found it helpful, be sure to give it a like and to share with anybody who might need it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. If you're not already subscribed to me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'll see you around in another one of my videos. Bye!